Hello and welcome to the video Spring Boot export to Excel with me Namaming from codejava.net. Through this video, you'll learn how to implement export to Excel function for a Spring Boot application using Apache POI library. Suppose that we have an existing Spring Boot project using the following technologies: Spring Data JPA and Hibernate framework for the data access layer, Thymeleaf for the view, and MySQL JDBC driver to connect into a database. And I'm using the following software programs on my computer: Java Development Kit JDK, Spring Tool Suite IDE, and MySQL database server and MySQL Workbench tool. This is Spring Tool Suite IDE, and I have an existing Spring Boot project here. Show me a backend. This Spring Boot project uses Spring Data JPA and Hibernate framework for the data access layer and Thymeleaf for the view layer. And now I will start this Spring Boot application. And you can see in the Spring Boot configuration file, it is configured to be available on this context path, and the port number is 8080. And switch to Chrome browser to access our Spring Boot application. HTTP localhost 8080 and the context path. Here we go, and now I log in to this application. Here we go, and we want to implement the export to Excel function for the users. Here you see we have the hyperlink export to Excel. Currently this function has not yet been implemented yet, and this is a database. This is MySQL Workbench, and we have the database submitDB with the table users here, and this is the content of the table. The rows, we have 18 rows in this users table. So our job is to implement the export to Excel function that allows the user to click this hyperlink and download Excel document for all the users of the application. Before writing code, let me explain the workflow of this application to implement the export to Excel function. You see, the end user, we click the hyperlink export to Excel in the user interface, which is here, and then it invokes the export to Excel function of the user controller. This is a Spring MVC controller class, and to get all the users from the database, we need to use Spring Data JPA, and this controller class has a reference to user services class, which has a reference to user repository interface. User repository interface extends JPA repository interface, and it has a file method that returns a list of all users in the database. In Spring Data JPA, we work with Hibernate framework, which we work with JDBC driver, which talks with the underlying database, MySQL database in this project. And we have the entity class user that maps with the users table in the database. And to implement the export to Excel function with Apache POI library, we need to have a utility class user Excel exporter to write data into Excel format. So I hope you understand the workflow of our application before writing code with this diagram. The first step is to declare dependency in the Maven form XML file to use Apache POI library for Excel export. We declare a new dependency here for Apache POI library. The group ID is the group ID of Apache POI is org.apache.poi, and artifact ID is poi-oo XML, and we use version for POI 1.0. Save. And in this project, I'm using Spring Boot developer tools, Spring Boot dev tools. So whenever I make changes to the project, the server, the application will automatically restart. Let's see the jar files here, and you can see we are waiting for Maven to download the required jar file for Apache POI. Here you can see the POI XML jar here. Click dependency hierarchy here to see. Here you see the jar file dependency for Apache POI XML for reading and writing Excel file. You can see it depends on POI core, POI XML schema, comments complex, and so on. We got error in the console view here, so it's better to stop our Spring Boot application because we are going to write a lot of code. And the next step is to write a handler method in the user controller class here. You can see the view file HTML Thymeleaf. We have the Hibernate export to Excel here with this relative URL. So we write a new handler method in this the Spring MVC controller class using the get mapping annotation, and the URL to be handled is this public void export to Excel. We need to have a reference to HTTP servlet, so we can write the output to the response HTTP servlet response. And to help you understand the workflow in the export function, I draw this diagram. First, we need to set the HTTP headers for file download, so the user can download the generated Excel file. And then we get data from the database, the list of users, which is very easy using Spring Data JPA and Hibernate. And then we need to create a Excel workbook. We write the first row for the header, the column names, and then we will write data rows, and finally we close the workbook. So that's pretty simple workflow for export Excel. And now first we need to set HTTP header response set content type is we use a generic content type application slash octet-stream. So the browser we download the content, download the file, and we declare a header key. The key for HTTP header is content dash disposition, and the header value containing the file name, which is attachment semicolon file name equal users underscore user dot xl sx, which is an extension for Microsoft Excel file, Microsoft Excel document. And then we set the header for the response. Set header key, and header value. So by writing this code to the browser, we interpret the response as octet-stream. So if we download the document, and then we need to get a list of users from the database with the help of the Spring Data JPA. So in the code, we have the user class, which is the entity class here. We have the fields, ID, email, password, full name, photo enabled, and we export only ID, email, password. Sorry, we don't export password, ID, email, full name, and enabled. And we have the user repository interface, which extends the JPA repository interface here. And this has the file or method that returns a list of entity class, entity objects here, so we can use easily. So here we get the list of user here, list users equal. In this controller class, we have reference to the user service here. The user service has a list or method that in turn invokes the file or method of the user repository. Okay, service file list or. And now we need to code utility class user Excel exporter user Excel exporter here, which uses Apache POI library to write an Excel document. So we create a new class here, new class. The class name is user Excel exporter. In this utility class, we need to have a reference to an Excel workbook, xslf workbook, which is for Microsoft Excel document 2007 or later workbook. And then we need to have a reference to the sheet, Excel sheet, xslf sheet, and we need to have a reference to a list of user from the database user list users. And we need to, in this utility class, we need to have some private methods, void array, header line, write the first row, header row, first row in the document, and the next method is write data rows, and the public method which will be invoked by the controller class is public void export, and we need to have a reference to the HTTP service response to write the content of the document to the response. Okay, so in the controller class here we can use that utility class with Excel exporter equal new user Excel exporter export response. That's it. And we need to pass this list users to the constructor of this utility class. So we generate a constructor, run source generate constructor using fields which you only list users here. Generate. Okay, and we pass the list users here. Now in the constructor, we need to create a new workbook. Workbook equal new xslf workbook, and we need to create a sheet equal new equal workbook. Create a sheet. In this Excel document, we need only one sheet, and we leave the name for this sheet is users. And we write the first row for the Excel document is a header row which contains the column names, field names. So we create a new row here. Row equal sheet create row, and the row number. The first row has a number 0. Okay. And then we need to create a cell equal row create cell, and we need to pass the column number. We name it as column count. We just specify the first column, which is 0, and then we set value for this cell. Set cell value, which is the first column is user ID. That's it. And in the export method here, we need to write the header row, then write the data rows, which is empty now. For now, we just need to test to create a very minimal Excel document. So we need to get the output stream from the response.get output stream. we need to add throws declaration, and we assign statement to a new local variable output stream. Okay, and then we write the workbook to this output stream, workbook.write output stream, and finally we close the workbook, close, and close the output stream, close. That's it. And now we can start our Spring Boot application to run the first test for exporting Excel. Start. We got error. Let's see where is the error. We need to add those declaration. Okay. Now start. Switch to the browser, and we need to log in again. Okay, so in the user list page here, I click the export to Excel, and you see the browser displays a dialog that let me save the file. You can see file name, users, and save as type Microsoft Office Excel worksheet. I choose to save to downloads directory. Click save. Let me configure Chrome browser to automatically save the file. Yeah, uncheck here to let Chrome to automatically save the downloaded file to this directory. So I uncheck here. Okay. Now open show in folder, and we have the generated Excel document here. And double click to open in Microsoft Office Excel, and you can see in this Excel document we have one sheet with the name users here, and we have the first row, first cell with the value user ID here. Very good, right? Which is exactly the cell value we specify in the code here in this class user ID here. So that means the export to Excel function works properly. The user can download the generate Excel document, and now we need to fill the data for that Excel document. And now let's complete writing the first line, the header row in the Excel document. The second cell is for the email of the user with the column count is 1. This is email. And the next cell for the next column is full name. And the next column is for the rows of the user. As you can see, a user can have one or more rows. You can see here rows, and the last column is for enabled. Number 4. Okay, that's it. Now we can save and test. Login again. export to Excel, and you can see now Chrome automatically saves the file, and you can see the file name users one here. Open it in the Excel document open, and you can see in the header row we have all the columns: user ID, email, full name, roles, and enable. Very good, right? And next we need to write the data rows for the Excel document. First, we need to declare a row count because you can have many rows depending on the number of users in the database. And the next row count is 1 because the first row is 0 for the header row. And we iterate through each user in the list users. And we create a new row equal seed create a row, and row number is row count. Then we need to create a cell for the first column. Cell equal row create cell column number 0, which is for the user ID, and we set cell value. Set cell value is user get ID, and we do the same for the rest fields: email, full name, roles, and enable. Copy and paste the second cell, second column. We set value for user get email, and full name, which is at the row column index 2, get user get full name, and then is a rows get rows to string, and then the last cell is for the property is enabled. That's it. And we need to increment the row count number here. Okay, that's it. Save and test again. Okay, we need to refresh, login again. Now click export to Excel, and we have the Excel document users number 2 here. Open. Here you see we got all the users generated in this Excel document here. So far so good, right? And you can see there's the values for each column: email, full name, roles, enabled, which is exactly the data in the database here. You see we have 18 users here. Well, let's count. Also we have 18 here. You see. So far the Excel export function works properly. And now I want to update the code first to generate the file name based on the current date and time, and then format the cell in the Excel document to have a better look and feel, a better. For example, we need to bold the header row and make the font size a little bit bigger. First, now I want to generate the file name based on the current date and time. So I create a new date format object here. Date formatter equal new simple date format, and we use path is 4 numbers of year, dash 2 numbers of month, dash and 2 numbers of day, underscore and hour, minute and second, and we create the variable for the current date time, which is the value from date formatter format new date for the current date and time, and the file name is based on the current date and time. File name equal users underscore plus current date time, and plus extension xslx for Microsoft Excel document, and plus the file name here. Okay. Now let's save the change and test the generated file name. Refresh login event and click export to Excel, and now you can see the Excel document has name, users, and followed by the current date and time. Open in so in folder, and you can see the file name here, user underscore and the date and the time. Open it and you can see the content. Very good, right? And next we want to run the header row. The font is bold and a little bit bigger, so we need to update the code to format our generated Excel document. Here in the method right header row, we create a cell style here. Cell style equal workbook dot create cell style. We need to set a little bit bigger font, so we create a new font, xslx font equal workbook create font, and we set the bold true and set the height, set font height about 60 pixel, and then we set the font for the style, set font, and we need to set the style for each cell here. Set cell style, copy and paste from each cell in the header. Okay, save the changes, and now we test the header row of the exported Excel document. Okay. Export to Excel. Open. And you can see now the header row the text is in bold and a little bit bigger than the row, you see. And now we need to update to have the data rows a little bit bigger and the content fit the column fits the content. To do so, we need to write some extra code for the sheet. We need to set set. Let me see. We need to set auto. Sorry, the method is auto size column. Here we need to use this method to make the column automatically fit the content for each column in the data row. Here, set auto size column. For the column 0 and column 1 and column 2, column at index 3 and 4. Okay, and then we need to also create a cell style for the cell in the data row. So we copy this cell style here. Cell style. We need to set the font height to 14. Okay, and set cell style for each cell. Yeah. The code is a bit verbose, so I recommend you to optimize this for the demonstration purpose in this video. I just write this. Okay, save the changes, and now we need to restart again. I think it's final test. Okay, refresh, login again. Now, export to Excel. Okay, you click to open it. Here we go. We got the exported Excel document. Looks better, right? You can see the font size bigger, and the content of the cell fits to the column size fits to the content of the cell, making it more readable. You see. Awesome. So far you have learned how to implement an Excel export function for an existing Spring Boot project. I hope you found this video tutorial helpful. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share this video. Thank you.